Welcome here on the Lindenwood Sports Network. My name is Dominic Hoscher, and today's guest is the head coach of Lindenwood Men's Hockey, Rick Zombo. And Coach, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
My pleasure. Good. Thank you.
Big time of the year for you. Regular season's now over, and what the season was 25-7 overall, 14-2 in conference play. So from the coach's perspective, what went well for you guys to have such a strong year?
Well, it all starts in the recruiting, and it starts in the preparation of the returning players. So this was a program that had only one senior that graduated last spring, so we had a pretty powerful team coming back. Add that to the diversity with good recruits coming in and made a very challenging week and challenging season inside our own friendly confines of Centene. 25-7 is a heck of a record. It kind of is clouded in comparison because the season before we only had one loss, but everything went good for us. I mean, we're defending well. We're scoring in the right moments, and we've had collective groups of contributing throughout the whole season.
So you mentioned how you had one loss last year and now 7 this year, but can you see that as almost a good thing for your team? I mean, facing adversity throughout the season and having those losses, does that build character for your team heading into the postseason, conference tournament, and everything else?
You'd like to think so. Those are words that come out of a coach's mouth or the media when you do lose. You know, prior to that you would never cross your mind to say it. But the games were close. We played well. I'll accept a loss if we play well. There's a few of those that I think we gave away that was unpleasant for a few days. But otherwise, and the bottom line is winning the last game, and the last game is always at the national tournaments. It's a grind because you have to win 4 days in a row, and the teams always get better, and everybody scouts and plans months prior with anticipation of playing our team, Lindenwood University.
You ended the season on a 9-game winning streak and extremely hot heading into the postseason. So how important was it to end the season on this kind of a high note, building that momentum for the postseason and everything that comes after the regular season?
You're exactly right, Dominic. You have to peak at the right time. You have to be healthy. You have to make certain that, as far as a coach, they're conditioned properly without burning them out, because it becomes an extremely long season. Being able to temper the workload that we provide them, but also trying to increase their self-esteem and confidence and continuity is the most important thing, because it's a collective unit. It's a team that wins for us.
And in those 9 games, what about that team was different during that stretch than earlier on in the season when you had a couple wins in a row that maybe lost that follow, but it was all wins in those 9 games?
Well, I think the way that it works for our program is our guys had almost 5 weeks off for Christmas. So they had 3 from school. We always give the boys Thanksgiving off, and then we give them the first week of December finals off. So as a coach, it's terrible for me because you don't know what they're up to. They get soft because they're around mama's apron and cooking. But they're recharged and they're ready to go. So when you get into January, we return back to January, it's a downhill slide. It goes by really quick. I think the last 8 games that we played were not strong contested, let alone ranked teams that we had played. So it was good for confidence.
You earlier talked about the move to Centene and you guys playing at home there. Talk about that and how different is it than out being in Wentzville, and how the players adjusted to it as well in your first year in Centene.
Well, I don't know if we've adjusted to it. It's the friendly confines. I mean, it's nice. It's set up for a pro program. It's set up for a Division I university hockey program. The luxuries and the amenities is extremely recruitable. Who wouldn't want to have that? And on top of it, it's the convenience, because we're only 7 miles from campus. So not only is it convenient, it allows a much more consistent, not only sleep, but food schedule and study schedule for my players. And it's accessible to all the students. So as far as new location, it's been nothing but positive for us.
It's also hosted a lot of key events already during the NHL All-Star Week. There was the alumni game that you were featured in as well. But also it kind of puts you guys on the map, would you say? And how would you talk about the impact that the Centene Community Ice Center has on your team as a program, and kind of like building your reputation, not just around Lindenwood, but across the area as well?
The timing couldn't have been better. To have everybody who is somebody in the NHL and everybody that's involved with professional hockey, whether it be guys from the past, the alumni, you call me a legend. There's far more legends than myself there. It's great for me to see. It's great for me to socialize with. But also I made certain that my team was in attendance, not necessarily to support me, but for that old-timers game. They were there to at least see the players and walk around and get the vibe. But it was definitely a wonderful showcase and display out at Centene and what Lindenwood University has to offer our hockey players.
So back to this upcoming weekend, the first round of the playoffs. You guys have a bye in the conference playoffs, and you'll play either Robert Morris or Iowa State in the second round. But having that first game off, how does that help your team, giving that little bit of rest while the other two teams have to play basically a playoff game against each other?
There's two ways to look at it. I don't think giving rest is really that important. I think players don't realize their workload until they do rest. We're healthy now, so to be able to play consistent games, whether it be 3 in a row or 2 in a row, we're positioned properly for that. A lot of times it's nice to play that first game to knock the rust and the jitters off. But anytime that an opponent plays us, they are the undercard. You know, we always get their A game. I think it really boosts the opponent's motivational level to play against Lindenwood. So, you know, it's just the way the schedule is, and we earn the bye, and when you earn something, you appreciate it. Then you got to go back to work.
How difficult is it playing with that kind of target on your back, as you've been one of the top teams in the nation, ranked all year? Do you see other teams seeing that, and like you just talked about, playing at a level they haven't played all season just because they see Lindenwood on the schedule?
It's just the way that our program is built. You have to go seek and find a better competition. So putting our schedule together is fairly simple. We play the same teams as we have for the past 8-10 years. They're always ranked teams. You know, we're coming into conference playoffs where two of the teams were not fortunate enough to make the top 20. Iowa State is a much better team that is on out. You know, they only have one weekend left and they're done playing. And Robert Morris had an extremely down season. So just playing in the Central States Conference that we are in, we're perennially, all 5 teams are usually in the national tournament. Because 2 teams are out doesn't mean that it's going to be a weak tournament. It's always heavily contested, well coached, and it's a great prelim prior to us going to Texas.
So how does a tournament like this conference tournament kind of prepare you guys for the even bigger competitions down the road, like the national tournament? Playing against these teams that you mentioned are ranked and you've played all season, how does it build a character for this team heading into the nationals as well?
The hardest thing for me is to get them to understand that this is the games that are most important. It's when I shine. I feel I'm really good as far as having a feel for the players and bench management. I feel that I've got the experience and the ability to provide our players a favorable opportunity when they do hit the ice. All bets are off. Regular season, I made certain that we had a deep team, and it's just not numbers. It's giving guys a tremendous amount of opportunities, not only in special teams ice, but also big face-offs, big starts in the D zone, big starts in the O zone. So I'm very comfortable. Regular season, I use the word, it's an audition for this. But on the other hand, you have to learn how to play on the big stage. You have to learn how to play in tight games. You have to learn how to handle adversity because it's coming. So whether we go in as a 3 seed or 1 seed, we're always a team to beat. And everybody has done their. I mean, coaches share notes. Almost all of our games remain, on video. So everybody has done their work with the potential that they're going to match up with Lindenwood. We just have to play the way that we play, and very familiar with our opponents. But if we don't play the way that this team has been built, then we make it a little bit easier for the opponents.
How would you say preparation kind of differs this time of year than it does throughout the regular season? I know most coaches try to go into every game with that every game mindset. It's one game at a time. Is it the same for you guys? And despite it being the playoffs, it's just regular business as usual?
Yeah. We punch the clock for 60 minutes. If it takes us 60 minutes, so be it. I mean, 2 weekends ago, we went almost 7 or 8 rounds in a shootout to beat Iowa State at home. But you come to work, you play one game at a time. No sense trying to save some juice in the tank for the national tournament. You got to get there first, so you got to win one at a time. And even during the regular season, we talk about 5-minute increments. You got to make certain you get through the first period, have a good start, don't have any lax or mental weakness. So that preparation is one game at a time. By having the depth, it gives me the luxury and the freedom to not only hold players accountable to play the way that we want to, but also allows fresher legs, fresher face in certain assignments.
You talked about the depth, and you have a lot of that in terms of goal scoring and in terms of points. You're two of the top 3 point scorers on this Lions team, our defensemen in Apple Nerman and then Brendan Murphy. So getting production out of your defenders like those two, how big of an asset is that for your offense? Not just having to rely on your wingers or your centers or anyone in the attacking end, but also your defensemen as well.
Yeah, it shows up on the stats. They're tremendous offensive threats, but they're also defensive threats, because not only do they have the ability to defend, they have the ability to get the puck out of our own zone. So when you look at our numbers, and I think due to the position that I played as a professional player, you'd think us as a very defensive team. We like to play offense. We like to score goals. To have 3 of the top 6 scorers defensemen, I let them go. I let them be free. We play high risk. And it seems to work for us. We just, it's how the team's been built, and we're fortunate that I've got 7 defensemen that all can carry the puck and are free to go.
Another player I want to focus on individually is your goaltender and Cooper Ceda in his junior year, another strong year for him. What does he provide for your team? I mean, how much security does he give between the pipes for you guys, and how much confidence does he give the rest of the team too?
Well, he's a tremendous asset for us. I mean, the first thing is I really don't have to look too deep for recruiting. He's earned the position. We have a backup goaltender that pressures him. He's waiting on the wings, but when he's been called upon, Steven plays extremely well for us. The hardest thing for Cooper this year is to stay focused, because we defend so well, or we play the majority of our games in the offensive zone. We leave him high and dry frequently. And it's just the way that we play high risk. So it's not like he's getting 40 to 50 shots, even though that we're delivering it. I mean, there are times that you could make certain that you have the alarm clock close to you, because you got to hit that snooze button and wake up. So he's a great goalie. I mean, we're confident when he's in there, and allows us to play the way that we like to play.
All right, so the conference tournament this week in Illinois, and then national tournament after that down in Texas. Coach, good luck in all of those, and thank you for joining us here this
You're welcome,
morning.
Dominic. I appreciate it. Thank you.
That was head coach Rick Zombo of Lindenwood Men's Hockey here on the Lindenwood Sports Network. We're going to take a quick break and be back with you right here on Lindenwood Sports Network.
You can achieve a lot using your imagination. I mean, I don't like to brag, but... Wait, who's that? And why is she all over these achievement awards? But with STEM, the sky's the limit. Shaboom! Use STEM to envision... Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah! Invent...
Got any ideas?
I've got a few, actually. And create a better world.
Told you she's super smart.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Because of you, I felt hopeless.
Because you said rude things about my work, I started to question my own voice.
I know it was a joke, but it still hurt me.
Because of your negative comments online, I've almost quit doing the one thing that makes me happiest in life.
Because you shared something about me that was private, I felt embarrassed.
Because you said hi to me on the first day of school, I felt included and I knew that I was going to be okay.
Because of you sharing your story with me, I feel comfortable sharing my own.
Because you were there when I was coming out, you helped me regain my confidence.
I'm still here today because of you.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
We're back on the Lindenwood Sports Network, and now joining us is the head coach of Lindenwood Baseball, Doug Bletcher. And Doug, your team's doing well. Are you doing well too?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
All right. What a start to the season for you guys. After the first 13 games, you're 12-1 overall on the year. Lots of home games too. We'll talk about that later. But overall, so far, what's your general assessment of a pretty successful start to the season?
Well, certainly it's early, and there's so much more in front of us that we have to prepare for. So don't want to get too caught up in terms of the national rankings and how many wins we have. It doesn't necessarily reflect of the obstacles and the goals that we have to overcome down the road.
So you're ranked number 11 in the country right now. First, I want to ask you, do you agree with that ranking? Do you guys deserve a little bit more, do you think? Or right now, do you think you're right where you belong?
I think it's fine where it's at. Whether we're ranked high, whether we're ranked low, we're going to use it as motivation either way. And it again, doesn't really show what we have to go against. Maybe we haven't faced the toughest competition that we're going to face down the road, certainly relative to our ultimate team goals, which is get to Cary, North Carolina, where the D2 national championships are held. So it ranked 11th in the nation, that's fine, but again, it doesn't tell the story. We can't get too caught up into it because just winning games doesn't necessarily mean you're doing the things that you need to do to prepare for Cary, North Carolina.
What does that national ranking say about your team, though, to get this recognition, not just from local areas, but from the entire country, and seeing what your team has done well so far? What does that say about the work you put in over the offseason and the work you put in through the first couple of weeks, too?
Well, certainly a credit to all the players. The coaching staff, the assistant coaches have done a great job. The players have done a great job to this point, and it does help in recruiting. There's no doubt about that. It's good to feel good about yourself. It's good to certainly have a little bit more evidence, belief in what you can accomplish during the season. And that's what all this early season success has meant to the program.
When you were setting expectations for your team during the offseason and goals you wanted your team to accomplish, would you say, I mean, probably they've met the expectations so far, but were they this high, and did you expect this kind of success early on from your team?
Well, we knew we had a good pitching staff. There's no doubt about that. That's been years in the making, and I think it's going to be a staple of the program for years to come. It is a high amount of focus. I do give a lot of credit to our two past recruiting coordinators, Coach Boyster, who's now with the Mets, and the current pitching coach, Zach Pearman, and executing those type of players that we feel are going to be nationally competitive and get us to Cary, North Carolina. So, yes, we did know that we were going to have the pitching staff in place, but would we have the defense to support that pitching staff? And offensively, were we going to do the things that would best allow us to keep the best defense on the team, but score enough runs to sit there and win these ball games? We've got to win those 3-2, 4-3 type ball games.
So you started the season on the road with 3 games. Ever since then, it's been a lot of games at home, February 8th all the way to March 21st, around 21 games all at home. How nice is it just to be able to kind of relax here in St. Charles and just have a lot of teams coming away and playing at your guys' home while you guys get to stay?
Well, in the past, we certainly took 3 or 4 southern trips a year and maybe not get off with a lot of momentum, get off to the start that we were looking for, but we were facing the competition that we would ultimately face later in the year. So it was a give and take. Now that we've decided to concentrate on the teams at home and enjoy this good home cooking, if you will, it does give us the challenge of, okay, what's out there that the players aren't experiencing week in and week out that we need to see. So it's a trade-off, but certainly I like it.
Yeah, your team likes it. I mean, they're 10-0 at home so far. So what about Lou Brock Sports Complex makes it kind of a fortress for you guys and makes it such a tough place for other teams to play?
Yeah, welcome to the Lou is basically what the players say to the opposition when they have a 365-foot bomb or 370, 380, and it doesn't leave the yard. Our power alleys are very, very deep. It's a lot of real estate at Lou Brock Sports Complex, and it takes some getting used to. In addition, sometimes the wind is not favorable for right-handed hitters into their face, and so it allows our pitching staff, our defense, to take advantage of it. But then offensively, we have an opportunity to play a game that's more conducive to scoring runs against that type of those dimensions and the wind elements and that type of thing. So it's an advantage. There's no question about it, and we need to take advantage of that.
Coming off a 4-game home sweep of Truman State, in terms of playing a 4-game series, how much more difficult is it to get a sweep in terms of that? Because you go beyond the rotation, then you have your first 3 starters, and then the 4th game, it kind of becomes a bullpen game or something else. So how much more difficult is it in games and series such as that?
Especially the sport of baseball, when the pitching is so dominant. If he has a great game, you're simply not going to score a lot of runs as long as their defense supports that pitching staff effort. It is really difficult. There's no question. We've got to be able to, again, grind out those tough victories when a pitcher is pitching well and have a lot go your way. We had quite the comeback in one of the 4 games against Truman State that they gave us, opened up Pandora's box, if you will, opened up the door in the 9th inning, and we certainly took advantage of it. So kudos to our ball club for staying with it, persevering, and staying after it.
How important is it to have so many different types of wins early on? You talked about the comeback. You also had comfortable wins from the get-go with dominant pitching and then explosive offense too. Having a diversity of both, not just one or the other, how much of a help is that for your team, not just early on in the season, but looking down the stretch too?
You get experience in all type of situations where they're tough ball games, where they're blowouts, are great for the ball club. You want that. You want a good, tough victory that you have to have the comeback, the tough victory that you were able to sustain the lead throughout the entire 9 innings. And then you want a couple games where there's some separation because you can get some players in that need to get their work in. There's nothing like experience on the bump. There's nothing like actual experience offensively, defensively, pitching, base running, just being part of the situation where we can slow things down a little bit. But we have to develop our bench, and that's a challenge right now. We have to be able to write out injuries, any situations that are thrown our way, any obstacles. So it's all good.
Earlier you talked about the confidence of the team. So sometimes you want to make sure that confidence doesn't turn into overconfidence too. So as a coach, how do you try to manage that and keep your team confident but almost not too confident?
45 years in the business, and I'm not sure I have the answer for that. It's good and bad. You want that belief in we can accomplish these goals, but don't get too caught up into it that even though the wins are happening, that we're doing all the things necessary to win against the best competition. So it is a daily challenge, it's a weekly challenge, it's a season-long challenge for us just to maintain that seriously our ultimate goal is Cary, North Carolina. That type of competition defines every step, every move that we make throughout the entire season. Off campus, on campus, off the field, all of it plays into doing what we need to do to put ourselves in the best position to be successful at the end of the year.
You mentioned a lot about North Carolina. Does your team, do you think, and the players also have that same mindset? I know you want to focus on the present and the games at hand, but in the back of their heads, are they thinking about North Carolina in the distance as well?
No question, and need to. We need the carrot dangling in front of us each and every single day to prevent those grinds of happening during practices and during inter-squads and during maybe a blowout. You still have that umbrella over the entire program, which is Cary, North Carolina, driving you to do the things that you need to do to be successful later in the year. Even a 10-0 victory doesn't necessarily indicate that we did all that we need to do to be at our best when our best is needed in Cary, North Carolina.
So you talked about the pitching staff. I'll get to that in a second. But the offense right now, 5 batters, all batting over 300. That's half the lineup. So getting that kind of production now, your offensive players, how valuable is it not just to rely on one guy, but you have multiple guys too that can do their job?
Well, incredibly so, and we need to further that. That's when we were talking about our bench development. Those are one of the concerns that we have. Not everybody is going to be on their best day each and every game that we play. So we do need to have a lot of versatility. Our best thing is, though, that lately we've been able to get more speed into the lineup and we definitely want to run the bases. So I'm really pleased that we were able not to go anywhere in terms of our defense, which has been quality. We can take another step forward there, certainly. But at the same time, we were able to interject more speed into the lineup for the days that we aren't hitting so well. Maybe we can still take a dose, get on base, steal a couple bags, and again, etch out that little 4-3 victory.
Now with the pitching staff, I mean, so far it's been a dominant year for them between the starters and Hennis and Thompson and others, and then the bullpen coming in and getting their job done too. Would you say the sky is the limit for this team with the pitching staff performing the way they are so far through the first 13 games of the season?
No question. It is a type of pitching staff that you want in Cary, North Carolina. And when you have Beckman, you have Hentis that have already been there in terms of at least the national championships. That steadiness, if you will, that type of leadership, been there, done that, certainly helps the rest of the ball club, the rest of the pitching staff as well. So definitely think it has the necessary ingredient to be successful to reach our ultimate goal.
Which is North Carolina. You must really be looking forward to it. I mean, the beaches and the nice weather, right?
Yeah, historically that's where it's always held for Division II baseball. And the year we went in 2017, it happened to be in Texas. So there was a little issue going on with NCAA, and for whatever reason it was in Texas. So I'd like to get to its historic place in Cary, and for our guys to experience that.
All right, Coach, thank you for the time as always.
Thank you.
That was head coach Doug Bletcher of Linwood Baseball right here on the Linwood Sports Network.